Hello, everyone. This is the Kubernetes SIG cluster lifecycle cluster API office hour of the August the 3rd. So this is a meeting for this meeting abide to the CNCF code and content. So please be kind with each other. And we have a meeting agenda document. I'm posting the link in the chat. If you cannot access it, you have to subscribe to the cluster lifecycle mailing list. So for getting started, let's start by welcome new attendees. If is there, I will pause for a moment. If is there some new attendees, please feel free to speak up, introduce yourself, why you're here, why you're interested in cluster API.
Hello, hi. Can you hear me? My name is Parthui, and I've joined this meeting for the first time. I have an agenda to discuss, but yeah, that's it. I work for Red Hat as a software engineer. And hello, everyone.
Welcome. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Same to you.
Is there someone? Please free to use the raise hand button if you want to speak up. Okay, so let's go back to our agenda and we move to open proposal readout. So we have a couple of proposals in flight. I'm aware that recently there was some activity in managed Kubernetes in CAPI. There was some activity in cluster API add-on orchestration proposal. I don't know, is there someone that was to talk or give an update on the open proposals?
Yes, Jack has been moved over to a different project for the moment, so I'm still working on the add-on proposal. I'm gonna make some more edits this week and add some sections about dependencies and upgrade strategies, and hopefully we can take another look next week.
Thank you very much. Winnie, Richard, is there some upgrade on the management, managed Kubernetes proposal?
Oh, hello. Yes, so we created a PR and we didn't get any reviews, but since our previous Google Doc was open for like 3 months, I think we addressed almost all comments and there were not really controversial comments. So please take a look at it again. But I know that the OCI team is actually trying to use the proposal to implement their managed Kubernetes. And also in Kappa, we started the discussion about EKS API evolution. So yeah, it'll be great to get it merged.
Okay, so if I look at what we did for trying to fast forward some proposal recently, I suggest you to go and basically ping all the people that you set as a reviewer. So ask explicitly for feedback from those reviewers. Everyone else can chime in, but your first goal is to get a +1 from the reviewers. So yeah, go and bug them.
Yeah, sounds great. I'll do that.
Okay, so if there are no more discussion on open proposal, we can move on to our discussion topics. So first one is Parthui, please.
Hi, so this PR needed some special attention. I mean, it's been on for a few months, and I saw Fabrizio, you had some concerns regarding it, so I wanted to discuss them in the call. I think if you go to the comment, it will lead you to the, yeah, that one. So this has been about adding the feature to fetch user kube config that Kappa provides with the help of cluster cuttle get kube config, and there has been a lot of discussion going on. So I was hoping to get a move on this one.
I can give my opinion. So Stefan is not here, but basically, so just to give a little bit of background, usually all the provider generates one kube config. For some reason, Kappa, when using managed Kubernetes, they decided to have two kube config. One is the one that is used by Kapi, and it basically use the YAM the authentication mechanism of Kappa, and the other one is a plain kube config that is meant for user to be. Okay, this has been implemented by Kappa, and now without, let me say, a discussion in the main Kappa, now we are trying to figure it out a way to make this nice for cluster cuttle users. The problem is that, so we initially tried to define a kind of behavior that where we look from the user kube config, and then we pull back, if it exists, we give this one back, otherwise we give the
System kube config.
The system kube config. This was a behavior designed basically to make this special case transparent to the user. The problem is that Stefan raised a very good point. If you basically transparently move from one kube config to another, there is the risk that you have airbag escalation in both directions. You can have more privilege or less privilege than you expect. Due to race condition, I don't know, the controller is creating one of the two kube config before the other, or stuff like that. So this kind of defeats the idea of having this implicit escalation that we were discussing, and it makes sense. It is a reasonable concern for me. And in this comment, I'm trying to discuss some possible alternatives. One is user must explicitly ask for the user kube config, which is kind of weird because we are telling to the Kappa user that for managed Kubernetes, they have to use a different command, which is no more different than what they are doing today with the kubectl get secrets stuff. So let me say, this solves the problem of airbag escalation, but the user experience is not ideal. And yeah, I also discussed another, we can think about a strict contract for the provider, so they ensure that kubeconfig are provisioned in a certain order, but this is weak. Probably the solution will be, let's table the discussion and try to define what is the more than one kubeconfig story, and so all the provider align instead of Kappa being a use case. But I understand this is a much wider discussion. So basically, TLDR is that the proposed solution seems not fit for a security problem, and the alternative, and there is not really a good alternative, at least in my mind. I'm open to suggestion. I see that Yassine has its one raised. Please, Yassine.
Yeah, I think I agree with Fabrizio on this one. I think like so solution-wise, I think this is definitely can lead to some security issues, especially if someone understand on which specific conditions you can fall back to one kube config or the other. So yeah, I think I'd rather like probably the next steps would be something like, I don't know, getting at least some a proposal or some sort of document to discuss what would be the contract with respect of provisioning or creating kube configs, so that at least like we can have like discussions about the trade-offs of enabling multiple kube config, one kube config, and like any mechanism to select one or over the other.
Okay.
I have a background question, however. So if I look at Kappa today supports basically two modes, Kappa with VM and Kappa with managed Kubernetes. My question, and sorry if it is a silly question, but I'm trying to understand, is why it is okay to use a plain secret for Kappa with VM, while instead we choose to use a secret with AWS authentication for managed Kubernetes. It cannot be the same.
Sorry, is this a question for me?
This is a question for
Right.
Kappa maintainers,
Kappa.
I guess.
Okay, but I mean, I'm not with the Kappa maintainers. This is my first PR with Cappy, but I guess I can take that back with maybe Richard or maybe in the Kappa Slack channel and ask them, or if you could articulate it there, that would help.
Okay, I will comment on the issue. Dean?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if Richard is on this call, but I think the differences were that EKS specifically has constraints around authentication mechanisms. You can't use anything other than IAM authentication unless you've configured an OIDC authentication provider.
Okay.
I don't think there would be
Yeah.
any mechanism through which you could use, like, say, a service account or anything like that.
Okay, this is a good information. So, sorry, I am not a Kappa expert. I was just trying to understand why we went down this path specifically for this provider. Yeah, thank you. And so, yeah, this answered my question. So we go back to what is the best compromise here. So what Kappa is trying to do is an exception, and it kind of, it is kind of hard to make an exception our own inside Kappa. We have to work on a proposal probably. Like Yassine was saying. Otherwise, I'm open to any suggestion how to make a user experience nice if we can prevent any security issue.
Okay.
Let me add a note here. So discussed August 3rd office hour. So we are open to ideas on how to make Wix nice, but we cannot trade on security concern. Also, it would be great if we can discuss this in terms of contract. All the providers, all the contract should abide to. Does it make sense?
Okay, yeah. It makes sense to me. Yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you, Fabrizio.
Thank you, and yeah, welcome again to this meeting. So,
Thank you.
okay, moving on. Next point is mine. So, last week we discussed that we are changing a little bit how we are doing issue triage. So we started with the new approach. So now basically we have, if we look at our issue backlog, if we look at milestone, we have only one milestone, which is the 1.3. And we are going through the backlog and do two things. One is to apply triage accepted to the issue, to all the issues. So, and we decide to go through all of them because it is a good opportunity to do this. And we are moving to the milestone only things that of course are accepted. There are one person assigned, and there is a kind of commitment to get the issue completed before the next release, which is not planned yet, but we can keep some time end of the year as a reference. So what we decided last week, last week we had on Friday the first triage session. We decided to have issue triage session every Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, using the same link that we are using now. And we decided to go through the entire backlog to apply triage accepted or close whatever we can close. We are at the 20 now, more or less at the 20% of the effort, so there is still a way to go. This will take some Fridays. And as I was explaining, if people want stuff merged in 1.3, you have to make sure there is an issue. You have to make sure that someone is assigned committed to work, and the milestone is set to the issue. So it is a community effort to make this happen. And yeah, some question around this? No, I hope to see some people show up in the Friday meeting. Next point is on Vince.
Yeah, real quick. I mean, just call out like that Cluster API is having another momentum already, like at the US, North America KubeCon. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 talks like about Cluster API. I've scrolled down a little bit and you'll see them all. Or like they mentioned Cluster API at least. So congrats like to everybody that got their talk accepted. I don't see here the deep dive. I don't know what happened there. And I'll reach out to CNCF to see if like they didn't receive the submission or something similar. But yeah, at least we have the SIG Lifecycle intro, which we'll do. And the last thing to mention is that at this KubeCon, CAPI will be introduced. And I think we'll actually be introduced on stage. So that's pretty exciting. That's it.
Thank you. And just to follow up to another topic that we talked last week. So it was we decided the name for the 50 and family character that will represent Cluster API. CNCF is trying to make this happen for the next KubeCon. And if this will happen, usually the new characters are being announced on stage. And so, yeah, another chance of visibility. And CNCF folks are asking if we need some rendering on the new character in advance, if some company want to do some advertising or gadgeting around it. So yeah, it is making progress. Also this thread. Okay, so let's go back to the agenda. It seems that there are no other topics. Some last second topic. Coding once, twice, three. Okay, it seems that we have some time back to today. Have a nice rest of the week. See you.